Imagine if, right now, the future of American jobs, national security, and global economic power hinged not on Wall Street, Washington, or even Silicon Valley, but on factories and supply chains thousands of miles away in China. Have you ever wondered how a company as iconic as Tesla, hailed as the face of American innovation, keeps its electric dreams alive? What would it mean if nearly half of every Tesla rolling across American highways is only possible because of parts, batteries, and raw materials sourced from factories deep inside China's industrial heartlands? As Americans, what risks and opportunities do we face if the keys to the clean car revolution are not entirely in our hands? Stay with me, because as we peel back the layers, the reality might surprise you. Let's take a closer look at what keeps Tesla, and by extension, much of the electric vehicle revolution, running. Data shows that about 40% of the crucial materials required to build an electric vehicle battery come directly from Chinese companies. We're talking lithium, cobalt, nickel, the building blocks that make those batteries possible. And it's not just about mining. China is home to some of the world's largest, most advanced battery manufacturers. In fact, over 75% of all lithium-ion batteries are produced in China, making it the undisputed powerhouse in this segment. For Tesla, China isn't just a supplier. It's the cornerstone. The Shanghai Gigafactory, Tesla's flagship factory outside the U.S., is a testament to this relationship. In just a few years since it opened in late 2019, it has produced over 3 million cars. But here's what's staggering. Around 95% of the suppliers for that factory are local Chinese businesses, many operating within a short drive of the plant. More than 400 Tier 1 Chinese firms support the components, technology, and logistics behind each vehicle. So when you see a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y, it's not just an American marvel. It's the result of a tightly woven global collaboration with China at its core. This scenario isn't unique to Tesla. Nearly all global automakers hoping to ride the wave of electrification are, in one way or another, drawn to China's supply chains and technology. China has invested heavily for over a decade to dominate the processing and refinement of key battery minerals. As a result, even raw materials extracted in far-off countries often end up being shipped to China before arriving as battery-grade products in the US or Europe.
This means American companies pay global prices set by Chinese processors and must navigate regulations and market shifts often beyond U.S. control. For the U.S., the impact is both profound and direct. Jobs connected to EV assembly or battery manufacturing in America often depend on uninterrupted flows of parts and chemicals from the Pacific Rim. A disruption, whether from trade tensions, geopolitical disputes, or even a supply chain bottleneck, could send shockwaves through American manufacturing towns. Consider the immense demand for affordable electric vehicles. If costs spike due to limited access to Chinese components, consumers and American businesses alike will feel it at the dealership and in their wallets. Data shows that 39% of EVs exported from China last year carry the Tesla badge, and many of those vehicles end up on U.S. roads. This brings up a key strategic question for the United States. Is this level of dependence sustainable in the long run? Supporters of keeping strong ties with China argue that global cooperation is what makes rapid innovation possible. They highlight how lower production costs in China help keep EV prices competitive, accelerating green adoption and supporting climate goals. For American consumers, more affordable Teslas, more people can make the switch to clean energy, reducing emissions and reliance on fossil fuels. Yet, there's another perspective gaining traction, and it's one the U.S. government, industry leaders, and security analysts are increasingly vocal about. They point out that reliance on a single country, especially one with divergent national interests, exposes America to significant risks. If China were to restrict exports of lithium, cobalt, or battery components, the entire supply chain could seize up, jeopardizing thousands of American jobs and billions in investment. Furthermore, at a time when strategic competition with China shapes foreign policy debates, giving up crucial parts of the EV production process is seen by some as ceding economic leverage and potentially technological leadership. That's why big moves are underway to rebalance the scales. The U.S. government has launched incentives to encourage onshoring of battery production, and companies are investing in new lithium refining plants and battery manufacturing facilities across the country. Tesla, too, is pouring money into domestic supply chain development, partnering with American mining firms and battery startups.
Panasonic, one of Tesla's main battery partners, has outlined plans to gradually reduce exposure to Chinese sources in its U.S. facilities. However, industry analysts agree these efforts are still in their infancy. Building a robust, local battery ecosystem takes years, and the capabilities China has assembled aren't easily replicated. For now, China's grip on critical supplies remains firm, and every step toward self-sufficiency is a marathon, not a sprint. For American workers, businesses, and policymakers, this complicated reality comes with trade-offs. On one hand, riding the wave of Chinese efficiency and scale delivers real benefits: lower prices at home, faster advances in technology, and a robust EV market that's the envy of the world. On the other, the long supply chains stretch American interests thin, and every international agreement or dispute has the potential to reshape what's possible for the U.S. consumer and economy. Decisions made in Beijing or Shanghai can ripple across Detroit and Silicon Valley almost instantly. So what does this mean for the average American who dreams of owning an electric vehicle, or for the worker hoping these new factories will secure a good job? It means that global economic shifts are no longer abstract. They're written into every vehicle, every energy plan, and every debate about America's future competitiveness. The push for energy independence and the race to lead in green technology now hinge on the ability to master supply chains as much as innovation itself. This scenario raises a deeper strategic question for the future of the United States. Are we prepared for a world where the next big technological leap depends as much on international diplomacy as on domestic ingenuity? What would it take for the U.S. to reclaim more control, and at what cost? Should strategic industries remain tightly intertwined with foreign partners if that's what it takes to deliver progress and affordability? Or does real security demand a different, bolder path, one that invests in resilience, local supply chains, and new forms of partnership within the Western Hemisphere? If you've made it this far, consider this. Is America ready for a future where critical industries run on global cooperation, where does lasting security demand more self-reliance? What would you prioritize? Cost, speed, innovation, or independence? Share your thoughts and join the conversation below. Do you think this path is sustainable for the United States, or is it time for a new approach to our electric future?